Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Barrister Janet. We are still on the series of marriage under the Nigerian law, statutory law marriage. And in today's video, we are going to be continuing from where we stopped. In the previous video, we talked about essentials for validity of a statutory law marriage in Nigeria. Those things that the law will put into consideration before it can be said that yes, your marriage is valid. Number one, we talked about age of the parties to the marriage. Two, we talked about consent, their consent. Parties to the marriage must consent. If you didn't see the video, I'm going to leave a link on this video so that you can go and check it out. So let's dive into today's video. Number three, prohibited degrees of consanguinity and affinity. Let's talk about that. What is prohibited degrees of affinity and consanguinity? That simply means that parties to a statutory law marriage in Nigeria must not be within the prohibited degree of affinity and consanguinity. Let me explain. Calm down. Let's start with consanguinity. What is it? It means marriage between people related by blood. So, parties to the marriage must not in any way be related by blood. You understand? I think that one is self-explanatory. When they're talking about relationship by blood, you should know. You can't marry your sister. You cannot marry your cousin. You cannot marry someone like, look at your ancestry, the descendants. Just look at it. You can't marry anyone that is within that category. You understand? So, consanguinity, self-explanatory. Now let's go to affinity, because I know that is where a lot of people usually get confused. People understand the other one better, but affinity. Now, people related by marriage, okay, parties to a marriage must not be related by marriage. Let me explain. For instance, if a party was previously married, okay, now, the law is saying that you cannot marry, maybe something happened in that marriage, maybe death or just divorced, something happened, the marriage did not work out again. Now, the law is saying that you cannot marry anyone from that family that you were previously married into before. I think we now understand it. So, that is prohibited degree of affinity. You cannot marry someone that you are related by marriage. You cannot marry your father-in-law. You cannot marry your sister-in-law. You cannot marry your brother-in-law. Someone in that family that you were previously married to. Although there is an exception to this particular one, prohibited degree of affinity. There is an exception. So now the law says that parties intending to marry within this prohibited degree of affinity, in an exceptional circumstance, you can apply to the High Court, and if the judge considers the circumstance as exceptional, your application will be granted and you too can go ahead and marry. Okay, so what is exceptional is a matter to be decided by the judge. So we don't know. They look at the circumstances, they put a lot of things into consideration and see if it is enough for you to be granted the application, So, if the judge is satisfied that the circumstance is so exceptional, they're going to grant the application. You too can go ahead and marry. But although for now, there is no court in Nigeria there is no case that the application has ever been granted, but we have a particular case that the application was refused. Now, this is the fact of that case. Let me just tell you a little, because if people like story. So, a father-in-law intended to marry a daughter-in-law who was divorced. Yes. So, the court put a lot of things into consideration and rejected the application on the grounds that the circumstance was not exceptional. They put a lot of things into consideration. They put the moral standards, everything into consideration and rejected the application. So it was not granted. How can a father-in-law want to marry a daughter-in-law? So for now, we've had cases where the application was not granted. Of course, we value morals here in our country, So, but I will always come back to update if there is ever a case, if I ever stumble on a case where the application is granted, I'll come and give you the gist. So that's number 3 I have mentioned. Prohibited degrees of affinity and consanguinity. Parties to a marriage, a statutory law marriage, must not be related by blood and by marriage. I think I've explained that. Now, the 4th point is neither of the parties must have already been married. I have a couple of videos that I have talked about this because I love this topic. Yes. So whenever you want to marry under the act, none of you must have already been married either to someone under statutory law or customary law. You must not have been married customarily. You must not have been married statutorily. There shouldn't be any existing marriage. Section 33, subsection 1 of the Marriage Act provides that. Let me read. Hold on. So, Section 33 of the Marriage Act, Section 33, subsection 1 of the Marriage Act reads, no marriage in Nigeria shall be valid where either of the parties thereto at the time of the celebration of such marriage is married under customary law to any person other than the person with whom such marriage is had. Why I'm reading this section is that a lot of people always get confused when it has to do with marriage already existing customary law marriage. So they think they can marry under the statute and cover the customary law marriage. It is not so. You shouldn't be married either. No marriage. There shouldn't have been any marriage between either of the parties with any other third party. I hope we understand. And I hope this helps. If you want to this point and you've not subscribed to this channel, please kindly click on the subscribe button, like, so that this video can reach a larger audience. Drop a comment, ask questions. I'm going to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. See you in our next video.